Low like them apple bottom jeans is the title that C4 chose for this segment. So not my fault if you don't like it. But shout out to Flo Rida, of course. So C4, let's let you get started here. What were your main takeaways from game week 6?
I'm just going to be honest right now. I was probably 21 when I realized Flo Rida was like Florida, and he just decided to split it.
I mean, you're Canadian, so that's okay. Like, but
but probably my biggest takeaway from game week 6 was not to take much away from it. I feel like most people did really poorly on it from an FPL points-wise perspective. Like looking through FPL Twitter, most of the big accounts had rough weeks. So I'm not trying to overreact to it, but I think there's some players who performed poorly with a bad run of form who continued that trend, who I could actually take something away from. It's like someone like Trent, you could take something away from that. Someone like Mitrovic, you could take something away from that. But Salah, Sterling blanking, Pulisic too, I won't take anything away from that.
Well, you said you could take something away from that. What's that? What do you take away from Trent and Mitrovic?
That Fulham are pretty shit.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that, but they're worse than we thought somehow.
I think Mitrovic is worse than we thought. I thought he'd be good for like 10, 15 goals, but the man's missing penalties, so don't know about that.
That's rough. I mean, he's also not getting much service, but missing the penalties.
I initially thought going into the season that of my two budget forwards, Mitrovic and Che Adams, that Che Adams had the higher potential of being a problem child. But now he has, I think, 4 returns in 6 games, and he's pretty much nailed on for me at that 5.8 million spot.
Yeah, it's great. I'm so glad I held on to him during my wild card.
Can I ask a question?
No.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to ask anyways.
You already did.
When you get a price rise with a player, you only accumulate 0.1 for every 0.2 that he rises.
Right.
Because I bought Che Adams at 6 and he's 5.8 now. If he goes back up to 6, do I get the full 6 or is he only 5.9 for me?
You get 6.
Okay.
I think that only applies when they're above their original price, right?
Yeah, it depends on the price you bought him for.
Yeah, it compares to the price you buy him.
Oh, that you bought him, not like the original player's price. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No. So he dropped 0.2 after those first 2 weeks. People really got that scared.
After the first 4
maybe
weeks,
3 and 4. Yeah.
He blanked pretty heavily in the first 3 for sure. So
his first 4 games were 2, 1, 5, and 2 points. So yeah, I could see why. And you were also mentioning Trent. What did you get from Trent?
Well, I know he was unlucky to have that goal called back with the assist to who was it? I think to
Salah.
Was it Salah? But still, when you compare him to Robertson and now with the additional injury to Liverpool, it almost makes it like, oh, what are you doing on my FPL team? You're not giving me anything. But we'll get into Liverpool a little later.
Yeah, I'm looking for a way to get rid of Trent. I'm still on the Liverpool double up. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Gash, what are your main takeaways from this week?
Yeah, so there's a scene in the first Madagascar movie that I think sums us up pretty well.
What?
So the whole movie, if you're not familiar, the penguins of Madagascar are trying to get to the South Pole because that's where they think they belong and that's where they really want to be. So eventually they reach there and they're just standing around in the snowstorm for 10 or 15 seconds, saying nothing, and then one of them goes, "Well, this sucks." And that's exactly how I felt about this past game week because there was pretty much, I was looking around and there was everything around me just crumbling to the ground and it was all going poorly. In all seriousness, I mean, I think it was kind of telling that Son and Kane were the two that actually returned as they've been, on fire pretty much to start the season. So I'm glad I finally got them in on my wild card. And then my one other thing is somehow, unbeknownst to all of us, that Aston Villa actually aren't going to have an undefeated season, and they lost the game. So that was not fun for me. I actually started all 3 of my Villa players this past weekend. So after that happened on Friday, I was like, well, crap, this might not go too well. So
I told you, man. I told you were ballsy for that Aston Villa triple.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I have 2.2 million in the bank, so I was planning on, keeping Target as a defender and upgrading McGinn to like a 7 point something, or Grealish to like someone in the 9s, and keeping the other 2. But then this week I was like, no, they should be okay for 1 week. I'll roll the free transfer and, but I don't know.
It's all right. It happens. It was a bad week for everybody except me. I mean, I did all right. I was on 57 points with forgetting to set my lineup for the first time this year. That Friday start really fucked me up. You guys texting me. Shout out to you guys texting the group chat at I believe like 1:31 in the afternoon. Like, hey Tomo, did you forget? Yeah. So I left the captain's band on Bruno. That was my one big problem with the week. But besides that, I had a great week from Bamford. Jimenez returned. Adams returned. Like I wasn't upset. I moved up a couple spots this week, so I'm all right, despite forgetting to set the lineup. And now I have 2 transfers in the bank for this week, so kind of worked out. And hopefully that's the one time that happens this year. There's another Friday deadline this week, right?
No.
I'm just gonna sync it up with my calendar here and never forget. Tazz, how about you, man? What'd you get from this week?
I kind of agree with what you guys said. Is this week is like kind of just a move on week. It's hard to take some concrete things from it, especially Leeds being a dark horse team they were beating Aston Villa. It's kind of sad not to see them return any attacking points. It's also sad to see same thing happen to Everton, and now with Lucas Digne out due to suspension, he's kind of looking a little bit rough for the next couple of games with him and Richarlison. So that's kind of what I took away from those games, and then. The only thing that I took away personally from my team, I liked seeing that when Newcastle lined up against Wolves, I saw ASM line up as a striker, and then I have him still rolled over from the beginning of the season. He dropped down price now to 5.3, but seeing him, he didn't get any points besides the clean sheet at one point being a midfielder, but seeing him play as a striker made me really happy, keeping him past my wildcard team 2 weeks ago. And besides that, it's more of this game week sucked. Can we just move on to the next one? It was very heartbreaking seeing last game week all the premium assets were scoring goals and stuff like that. And I think the average score is in the 60s, and then this weekend nobody besides Kane and Son out of the premium assets really returning points. It was kind of sad to see drop.
Yeah, good point about ASM. If he's going to continue playing up at striker for 5.3 in the midfield, that's a bargain. So I missed that match. Did he play alongside Callum Wilson, or what was the deal with that?
Yes, so they lined up in the I believe it was a 4-4-2 or something. Some variation of that, but it's just them up top. Yeah,
that could be cool. That could work. How'd they look? Looks promising maybe for moving forward?
I didn't really catch the game, but I just I don't remember the exact underlying stats for ASM, but it looked like he was kind of getting involved in the lineup, and even if he didn't come away with a goal, it was against a defensive Wolves team that Newcastle was able to tie 1-1. So, and I got lucky.
Oh, sorry.
I got for all the size owners out there. We enjoyed that. He came off right before the goal to get the clean sheet. So. For those people that went for that 4.5 or 4.0 budget of Kilman, sucks for you.
C4, did you watch your boys play? Your Newcastle?
I watched most of it until I would say they looked pretty poor defensively in transitioning. Diego, you look at the way the Wolves play, and they had so much possession in the final third. They just kept screwing everything up. I think Poden set up Neto 2 or 3 times where he could easily add some sort of return. And if you look at the tying goal, Isaac Hayden's free kick, it was luck. I wouldn't take too much out of it, but that's exactly what Brucey wanted. It's a Steve Bruce masterclass. We're going.
All right. Any final takeaways from the week? Any points you guys want to add?
I lost 2 clean sheets in a combined 7 minutes, so I'm pretty pissed.
I know that Fulham goal that took away my Mitchell clean sheet points. It was 2-0 down. It was the 94th minute. Why are you trying a 30-yard effort? Fucking Fulham.
I don't think the players are worried about our FPL teams, to be honest.